couple things I will talk about. Obviously, I played in this Fisher Random 960 event in St. Louis over the past couple of days. Now that event certainly did not go the way that I wanted it to go. I think what I would say is there are a couple general things. First thing is that the first game really set the tone for the event. I'm gonna actually set up the position. Let me figure out how to do the wait, wrong thing. 1 second. Give me 1 second. How do I do this? Just give me 1 second. It's been a while since I've done this, so 1 second. How do I? Oh, there we go. All right. Okay, you guys. So I'm gonna set up the position. The first game basically was the there's crackling. Wait, what sounds good, isn't it? Wait. No, my mods say sound is good. No, sound is very good, you guys. Anyway, I'm gonna set up a position from the first game. Very clear position that we had. And as I was starting to say, the first game really set the tone for the whole event. Mainly because, first of all, I probably should have won the game against Mamdurov early on in the game, but then much later on when it should have been a draw, I'm just gonna set this position up. Let me put this like right here. This is here. This is here. This is here. This is like here. This is like here. All right, legal moves. There we go. So let me up. Okay, you guys. So what I'm gonna start with is this first game against Mamdurov. Now this really set the tone for the whole event. Once I lost this game, there were a lot of things that I will talk about as well, just generally. But when I lost this first game and I kind of threw it, to put it mildly, it really got me off to a bad start. And so the way that this goes, I'll flip it so that I'm black here. So you see is that currently white has 1 2 3 4 5 pawns. Black has 1 2 3 4. However, the bishops are the same color. So because this bishop is the same color, it's not a guaranteed draw by force. All right, so in this position, he goes like king a4. I go bishop c7. And now after king b3, I think it was this position that I played something insane here, which is that I played pawn to e5. Now I don't really know why I did this move. I think maybe I played king h5 first, but I played this move e5 here, and it's a very insane move. I go bishop to like, I don't know if I just wait with king h5 here, for example. The king comes back, there's no entry square, so I can just wait forever on these two squares of my king, or even g6 h5 as well, and it should be a draw. But the thing is that for whatever reason, or actually let me explain further, is that if white tries to bring the king back around, I go here and white goes e4, it's still a draw because I can now put the bishop on b6, and after pawn takes pawn, I just take back. Now white cannot create an outside pawn because on a4 b5 I just take the pawn. And at the same time, if white tries to bring the king over, like king here, I just wait again. And the problem for white is basically with two pawns on dark squares, it's a very routine draw, and I should never actually lose this position. Now in this game, for whatever reason here, I decided to play this insane move, which was pawn to e5. And after e5, white is actually, I believe, winning here, although computer says it's unclear. But after takes king c2, white is probably winning. Music is too loud. I don't think so. I'm checking with my mods, but I don't think music is too loud. I can turn it down a little bit, but I'm pretty sure it's not too loud. I'll turn it down just a touch. But yeah, I think it's good. Anyway, yeah, so I played this line after white goes king to d3, or king to d3, king g4, e4. White ends up getting a situation where what happens is that, well, I guess I didn't do this exactly. I think it was something like this, something like this, and we get a position like this where I end up losing the game because we ended up in a situation where white was able to bring his king in, win the pawn, and at the same time my king was stuck tied to the h4 pawn. So anyway, as I was saying, I ended up losing this first game, and when I sort of played this e5 move and I lost the game, it really set a bad trend. And it really, I should not have played this move. I just waited with king h5 g4. Game would have been a draw. 100%, it would have been a draw. So I don't really know why I did that at the time. Obviously, it was a very big mistake, and I lost this game. And sort of after that, the first day went off the rails. There were a lot of other things going on that I don't really want to talk about as well during the event. Separate things that I had to take care of pretty much with all the spare time I had. So my mind was obviously in many different places. But when I lost this first game, it really it ended up setting the trend for a bad first day. Second day was okay. I mean, it wasn't great. Third day was just pretty dry. I would say it was just overall strange event. 960 results bode well for the Grand Swiss. I mean, I'm not upset about it. As you know, I think you always have to look at things as sort of as a half glass full, or whatever the saying is. And you can't hear me? Yeah. So I think you guys can hear me. Anyway, what I was gonna say is that if I had to play badly in a chess tournament, it's much better that I play badly in the 960 tournament, which, if I'm being frank, doesn't really have any value or mean anything, versus say playing badly in the rapid and blitz tournament, which I ended up winning. If I had to play badly in one, of course you never want to play badly in a tournament. It's better to play badly in the tournament, which really objectively doesn't matter, than the one that does matter, especially with rating points and other things on the line. So that's what I would say. But overall, I also would also just say it was a weird event, because it felt like whenever I tried to play something exciting or unusual, it never really quite worked out. And then when I played more solid and stable chess, the games just petered out into draws very quickly. So it was just a very weird event, is what I would say. In general, that's just all that needs to be said. But yeah. All right. Thank you to Dinky King for the 7. Thank you to Moist Gooseberry for the 12. Kaiser Soze for the 30 months. Thank you so much, Kaiser Soze. Thank you to Ratuka for the 4. Thank you to 7 tweets for the 5. The Real Scary Scarecrow for the 3. Tammy J for the 9. Thank you to Putzi McCoy for the 2. Holder of Crown for the 6. Thank you to Dilnius for the 5. Thank you to Volantines for the 10. Thank you to Chess's Chess for the 8. Bonsoir Crab for the 6. Thank you to Tailing It Shark for the 21. Thank you to Subtoxic for the 5. Thank you to Calcium Maru for the 6, and Pawpaw Smurf for the Prime. And of course, thank you to Mike the Watt for the 5 gifteds. Yeah, so before we jump into all the coverage of Norway chess, I will also say, since people are asking, in terms of Gary, I thought he had a very good result. He played very well, very solid throughout. I think the mistake, of course, for Gary was that in his game against me, the second to last game, he ended up taking a draw in a position where it seemed like it was slightly better for him, but he wasn't quite sure about what was going on. On the other hand, if you listen to Gary's interview afterwards, he said that the final day of the final round of each day. Sorry, I'm not thinking straight. That basically got tired. I think he lost 2 of those games, or he was struggling at least, and so he wanted to conserve energy, and that's something I can definitely understand. Because I remember in some of the Meltwater events in the final round of the day, I think there was 1 or 2 events where I played and lost the final round, so I totally understand that sentiment. But yeah, it was very very good to see Gary playing well. That's what I would say. Today we're doing a speed run. No, we're just going to go back to our classic trick speed run. I think this will be the final day of it, since our rating is like 2,700. Our rating is around 2,700, so this will probably be the final day. We'll make a final push for 3,000 and go for that. How did it feel to analyze with Gary after so many years? I guess it's only been 2 years since I last saw Gary. Again, no matter what you want to say about Gary's performances, he's obviously not the player that he once was, but he still is the GOAT in many ways. And so, like, it's always I think for everybody an honor to talk to him, and always to see what his opinions are. All right, you guys. So yeah, I mean, sure, Magnus will be the GOAT when all is said and done, but it's what it is. What do I think about Anisha's run of Tolstoy Cup? I have no idea. I have no idea is what I would say. I haven't really been following very closely. I was focused on the 960. Another thing I would say as well, you guys, and this is one thing that I think people need to keep in track, is that or keep in mind, is that, of course, even though I'm playing in these tournaments, I'm obviously very focused on the stream. I'm watching the restream, making sure everything's going smooth. There are a lot of little details that I'm always paying attention to. So like, yes, it's like I would like to follow everything that's going on, but I'm already so busy with so many different things, even during the event. So it's just like it's always crazy.